Recording in progress.
Comment present. If you feel our unbreakable bond, comment, I am with Mr. Peter. Thank you from the depths of my heart for your love and support. To my precious
Good evening. It's 6 o'clock. Can I just, Nosipu, I see that I am the only member of the committee that's on. I know Parliament is still on. I've got it on another device. Can I request that we postpone this meeting for 5 minutes? I think Parliament will conclude now. Is that in order? I see I've got two deputy ministers here. Can I please postpone this for 10 or let's 5 or 10 minutes?
Leon, we can do that. How are you, Chair? Let's do it. We'll
10 minutes is okay, Chairperson. Sorry, Deputy Minister.
Thank you very much. As soon as we've got a quorum, we will continue, but Parliament is on the verge of completing.
Every time God took it, and he's flipping the airport. Ouch.
Colleagues, the House has adjourned, so we will just give the members a few minutes just to log on to this platform.
Noted, Chairperson.
We're waiting for one member to join, and then we will start. Nosipa, will you inform me if the fourth member has joined?
Yes, I will do so, Chairperson. Mr. Moore has joined, Chairperson. We are good to go.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everybody. Our apologies for being late. Parliament started or knocked off late. We're not going to dwell. We started this morning. This is a meeting just continuing. I don't believe it's necessary for us to open with a prayer or a meditation. That's been done this morning, and I have indicated this morning that this meeting will continue. That is happening now. We are awaiting now for briefings on the catchment agencies. And you all know, and there were communications with you, 15 minutes per presentation. And please, if your 15 minutes is gone, I will stop you, and we will go to the next presentation. Before I go there, I would ask the minister, the two deputy ministers, Minister Mahlobo, whether you would like to say something, and then also Sitole.
No, thank you.
Deputy Ministers.
No, thank you very much, Your Excellency Chairperson, Honorable Person, and members, and equally to my brother and Deputy Minister DM Sitlulu. In the morning, Chairperson, I did put an apology, including Minister Majodina, because there was a family graduation. We don't want you to waste time because you have been working hard the whole day. My view is that we can start with the Inkoma to Usutu CMA, and then the ministry will come in when members are interacting with the various boards. And then myself and DMC will come at that time where there are matters of policy that are related to the department. Then we'll be supported by the DG and the team, Honorable Chairperson, that is supporting these catchment management agencies. With your permission, then we know that Inkoma's Usutu CMA is led by my sister Advocate Geraldine Koza as our acting chair. And our new CEO, we appointed Mr. Mongane. And if DM Sitlulu agrees, we can then allow this first CMA. Thank you.
DG, I'll come to you now. Deputy Minister Sitola.
Chairperson, I also approve that we proceed.
Thank you very much. DG.
Thank you, Chairperson. We did prepare an overall presentation as DWS, which might be particularly relevant because we've been in a transition phase, and we as DWS have actually been managing some of the CMAs in the transition phase. So it's just a suggestion that perhaps we should start with our introductory presentation, which is quite short as DWS, because it would provide context to all the others. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, my apologies. I did have a discussion with you. I forgot about that. So can I then ask that you start off, and then the CMAs, they could just add on to that. You can continue. Also 15 minutes if you don't mind.
Thank you very much. Our presentation will be made by Toko Sigwaza, our Chief Director responsible for our entities. Toko, over to you, please. Keep it short, summarized, less than 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, honorable members, DMs, DG, Chairpersons of the board, and CEs. Thank you very much. As DG has indicated, this is our introductory slides in terms of our performance in the last financial year. We just want to remind members that the Catchment Management Agencies are part of the National Water Act in terms of the Chapter 7 of the National Water Act, which requires the minister to establish the CMAs to perform water resource management functions at a catchment levels, and also to ensure that the users and the communities, they participate in terms of decision making at a local level. This is fundamental because unlike electricity, there's no single national grid for water. There are many different unconnected water supply systems, and these systems depend on a local catchments, and this is why it is important that we need to protect these catchments at a local level. The rivers, the wetland, and all water resources cannot be managed at a national level. They need to be managed locally following the hydrological boundaries. The National Water Act indicates that where there is no CMA, the minister will be the CMA. As a Schedule 3A public entities, these entities are accountable to the minister and to the public, and also ultimately to Parliament. In terms of the National Water Act and the revised pricing strategy, they are largely funded from water use charges paid by local water users in geographical area, as well as through appropriated funds as motivated through to National Treasury. In terms of the short background, Chairperson, the establishment of CMAs was one of the priorities of the National Development Plan in 2012. They were also form part of the National Water Resource Strategy as required by the National Water Act. The strategy indicated that 6 catchment management agencies will be established in the country. The Minister of Finance also approved the raw water pricing strategy, which has also indicated how revenue will be collected through CMAs at a local level. And the full establishment of catchment management agencies was also one of the reforms that have been driven by Operation Vulindlela Phase 1 and also the Phase 2. In terms of the next slide, this is a map that indicates the geographical location of the 6 catchment management, water management areas, and the corresponding catchment management agencies. In terms of the National Water Act, for the first time, Chairperson, we have been able to implement the requirements of the National Water Act to decentralized water resource management to a local level. As DG has indicated, this is a transitional arrangement where the water resource functions have been managed by the department, and they are being migrated now to the Catchment Management Agency. This period is managed by the Director General, and he takes accountability for it. In line with the Gazette Notice of Establishment of the CMAs and the listing, their classification under the Public Finance Management Act, these entities were envisaged to assume responsibility for water resource management function by 24-25 financial year. During the engagement with organized labor, there were delays that were experienced in finalizing the transfer agreement, and as a result, the delays meant that there was a a delay in terms of the CMAs assuming their responsibility with effect from 1 April 2024. And therefore, this delayed finalization of the transfer agreement meant the department needed to continue with the responsibilities for the water resource management function and accounting responsibilities, including the reporting thereof. And therefore, during 24-25 financial year, the department began the process of ring-fencing the water resource management functions within the water trading entity as part of the preparation in line with the PFMA and also the GRAP. In terms of the continuation of the transitional arrangements, currently all the boards are in place, and CEOs and interim CEOs in some cases, but the CMAs are not yet fully staffed below the level of the CEOs. This is because the staff that they require are still within the department, which should be transferred, and this transfer is due to take place by December this year. I have indicated that the Director General is accountable during the transitional arrangement period, and this has been formally communicated to the CMAs as well. In the interim, the functions are performed by the proto-CMAs in the department in terms of the memorandum of understanding between the department and the new CMAs. This MOU also allows the CMAs to have corporate services support from the department. The branch regulation is providing technical support to all the CMAs. They are meeting quarterly scheduled to discuss the performance, and the provincial heads are also leading at a local level to ensure synergy between the department and the CMAs, and the boards are regularly meeting to ensure that the state of readiness in terms of policies and systems when they receive the staff by the first week of December. In terms of slide 7, this slide was presented by AG, so I won't cover it. It just indicates performance of each CMA during 24-25, and also this is the audit outcomes. I think it was deliberated at length during the day where we did not do well. The AG also alluded to that. In terms of the governance status, I've already indicated that all the boards are in place. We are filling the CEO positions, and where there are no full-time CEOs, we have interim CEOs. And in the 4 of CMAs, the CFOs have already been appointed. In terms of the transitional challenges, this period, although governed by the MOU, it did have its challenges. I think during the day, the AG also alluded to the fact that we experienced the SAP system downtime, which led to the delays in the billing of water users, the payment of service providers appointed by the proto-CMAs, and also the board members. And to mitigate this, the CFO did provide the bus system also to support during that process. And the SAP-related challenges have been resolved, and however, it did cause delays in providing the auditors with the required information timeously. As honorable members heard during the day when the Auditor General indicated that some information could not be obtained on time. And I have already alluded to the transfer agreement with organized labor, which was delayed and only signed on the 26th of May 2025, which delayed the staff transfer to the CMAs. There were also accommodation issues in KwaZulu-Natal, which affected Pongola Umzimkulu. And so in the annual report, you will realize that there were issues in terms of the access of information on time also to the AG. But the Department of Public Works is working with them to finalize the issue of accommodation. And the next slide, please. In terms of our improvement plan, honorable members, we have committed DG and CFO and leadership of the department has committed that the transitional organogram should be approved, all of them by 24 October 2025. Most of them have been approved except for the Limpopo Olifants. The staff offer letters will be issued in the week of the 20 to 24 October and latest by 30 October. The confirmation of staff numbers will be done by 10 November. Appointment letters by the receiving entities, which are the CMAs, in this case will be 15 November. The induction and onboarding of the staff will be by change management, and the CEs of respecting CMAs will be happening from 10 to 30 November 2025. The effective date of staff reporting to CMA offices, it's 1 December 2025. While all of this is happening, the human resources support will be continuing. Thank you very much, DG and DMs, honorable members. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, in time, thank you. DG, would you like, in short, quickly, just to summarize what we had seen this morning with the Auditor General and what we discussed, that most of the problems that they had in their financials is due to the department not be able to transfer. Honorable Mhlangu, is it urgent that you need to ask a question now?
No, it's fine. You can give it to DG. I'm going to come after him.
Yeah, well, we're not going to ask questions now. We're going to deal with all the presentations and then we'll do questions.
Well, Chair, it's fine, but when they were just making the summary of the presentation, I thought there will be a presentation or a report that we requested in one of our previous meetings. In relation to that one of Ngoma's Usuthu.
No, honourable member, we deal with finances now, and we'll deal with that on a later stage. Thank you. DG, can you continue?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think the key points in Toko's presentation we mentioned this morning, and that is that we've been in this transition period, which has taken longer than expected due to circumstances beyond our control, which was the negotiation with organised labour, which is very difficult to predict how long it will take. It took longer than we expected, but the good news is that it was finalised and a transfer agreement has been signed, as Toko indicated. The CMAs clearly can't perform the functions they're supposed to if they don't have any staff. So we entered into an agreement with the CMAs whereby because the boards have been appointed, so they legally exist in terms of the PFM, in terms of the National Water Act, and in terms of the PFMA. So they had to start accounting and performing their functions and doing things like producing annual reports and APPs. But they didn't have any staff to do it because of the delays with the signing of the transfer agreement. And by the way, it would be very irresponsible for us and the CMAs for them to appoint staff while we still have staff doing the same functions in the department. That would result in waste of government money and duplicate and fruitless expenditure. So we agreed together in the interest of efficiency, because staff costs occur over the long term. They should wait before hiring staff, for this transition process to be completed and for us to transfer staff from the department, so we don't end up with staff sitting doing nothing in the department when the CMAs are established. But because that took longer, we had to reach an agreement with them that during the transition we would perform the functions on their behalf. So the two CMAs which got negative audit results are for the reasons that Toko made in her presentation, and it relates to things that we were doing on behalf of the boards of those two CMAs. And as Toko indicated, I, as the DG of DWS, am accountable for that, because it was us as DWS who were managing those functions for those two CMAs during the transition period. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, can I also ask that when you speak, please put on your camera. I think they are broadcasting this session. Can I now ask Nkumati, can you do your presentation in line with what the department has indicated? Please do not exceed your 15 minutes. I will stop you when your 15 minutes is expired, and continue then with the next CMA. Thank you.
Nkomati Chairperson, as we indicated, it will be led by the acting chairperson, Advocate Khoza, and then she's supported by other board members and the CEO. And remember, Nkomati is not a new CMA. It has always been functional and doing well. We'll allow Advocate Khoza then to lead the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Good evening, honourable members, Chairperson, Mr. Vasson, the two DMs and DG as well, and everybody on the platform. My name is Geraldine Khoza, as stated by the Honourable DM. I am simply going to hand over to our CE, Mr. Mungani, to then continue with presenting the 2024-25 annual report to the honourable members. Thank you, Mr. Mungani. Please take over.
Good evening, the Honourable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, the Honourable members of the Portfolio Committee, the Honourable Minister of the Department in absentia, the Honourable Deputy Ministers of the Department, the esteemed chairpersons and members of the respective boards, the esteemed Director General and CEOs of the respective CMAs, the accounting officers, and the fellow colleagues. Please allow me to begin by extending a warm greeting this evening to everyone in attendance. I will just confirm in terms of the presentation, the display.
CEO, please open the screen. The chair wants you to open the screen.
Oh, yes. Just a moment, Deputy Minister. I'm just trying to display here the presentation. Steph, if you can display it on your side.
Yeah.
Can we give him access so that he can put up his presentation, please? Thank you. You can continue.
So today I have the privilege of presenting the IUCMA's annual report for the previous financial year, that being the 2024-2025 financial year. And of course, needless to say, I will not be at liberty to take credit for any of the great work done during that period, given that I only started my tenure this year just 4 months ago in the month of June. Anyways, I will in essence be presenting on both the financial and non-financial performance of the agency during the performance under review. And that is in essence then the purpose of this presentation. So we begin with a lot of background and legislative aspects, but in view of the noble quest to be concise, we will jump straight to the intricacies of the performance itself. So let's do that. Let's jump straight to slide number 7 on program structure. If we go to slide number 7 on program structure, the one before this one. Now, this slide is particularly important because it provides both the programs and the strategic outcomes for the year under review. So in totality, the agency is running 2 programs, as we see here. Program 1, which deals with the administrative and governance matters, whereas Program 2 deals with our core mandate, i.e. the water resource management objectives. Accordingly, outcome 1 to 3 are housed under Program 1, while outcome 4 resides with Program 2. Outcome 1 aims to increase stakeholder satisfaction. Outcome 2 aims to enhance human resources and business capabilities. Outcome 3 deals with financial sustainability, and outcome 4 deals with the protection of and use of water resources. So, and here are the outcomes as stipulated. The next slide, please. Having said that, we can now delve into the overall annual performance for the period under review, and we begin here with a high-level overview. And so here, we can report that the agency achieved 64% of the targets as stipulated in the annual performance plan. This constitutes 14 out of the 22 set targets. 5 of these targets were achieved, 8 of them were not achieved, whereas 9 were achieved accordingly. And at this point, we can also report that the agency successfully managed to achieve an unqualified audit opinion, and of course, the CFO will indulge us further in that regard. Next slide, please. We see it's a bit thin. At this point, we can now turn our attention towards the annual performance plan itself, zooming into the details thereof. So this is, in essence, the epicenter of our presentation, as it were. So accordingly, we will go through each of the 22 targets, outlining the work done throughout. So we'll go through all of this, and we'll try to make sure that we move with speed nonetheless. So the first target deals with the implementation of the stakeholder management plan. And here we can report that 100% of the target was achieved and exceeded. And this target covers outcome number 1. The second target that you see here revolves around compliance with the approved audit plan. And here too, we can report that the target was achieved with distinction. The third target deals with the implementation of the respective strategic risk register plan. And here we can report that only 69% of the plan was achieved against the target of 90%. The reasons for deviation here are hereby cited, and they include the increase in the level of risk exposure in the agency's financial sustainability within the financial year. Accordingly, corrective measures have been put in place to improve and manage the levels of risk exposure. The fourth target deals with the implementation of the respective risk management plan, and here we are happy to report that the target was achieved with impeccable precision. The next target deals with the implementation of the respective human resource plan, so human resources, and here too we can report that only 3 out of 5 deliverables were achieved of the plan against a target of 4 out of 5. So the reason for deviation here are provided herein, and they include the fact that there were delays in the procurement process for some of these deliverables. As such, corrective measures, which include the use of project expediting principles, were subsequently deployed. The 6th APP target deals with the implementation of the ICT strategy, and here too we can report that the target was achieved in accordance. So the previous 5 targets fall within outcome number 2, and the next targets cover financial sustainability aspects under outcome number 3, starting with this one here, the target number 7. Target number 7 deals with procurement budget spent on SMMEs, and here too we can report that the target was met and exceeded. Moving over to the next slide. Target number 8 deals with the debt ratio, the working ratio, and here we can confirm that the target was missed. The reason for deviation, this was because of significant reduction in the respective augmentation in accordance with what had been expected throughout the years. In response, corrective measures have been put in place, and these include, among others, the enhancement of revenue collection efforts, along with the streamlining of cost containment measures. So we believe that this should fix that issue. The APP target number 9 and 10, I'll cover them together. They refer to the debt collection ratios for both the healthy book and toxic book, respectively. And here we are delighted to report that both targets were achieved with absolute distinction. And this was due to deliberate strategic customer engagement. So it was not by accident. Target 11 refers to the debtors payment period in days, and it looks at the 3 separate sectors. The first one being the domestic and industrial sector, the second one being the irrigation sector, and the fourth one being the forestry sector. And here we can report that the targets for the domestic sector was missed, whereas the other 2 were met. And then the reason for deviation, this was due to the non-payment by the municipalities with a total outstanding balance of just over 20 million. Accordingly, corrective measures will be explored, and this will include, of course, increased strategic engagement through my office, the Office of the CEO. Target number 12 deals with the current ratio, and here we can also report that the target was achieved accordingly. Now, the next targets cover the protection and use of water resources, and these are under outcome number 4, starting at target number 13. So target number 13 here looks at the monitoring of compliance to the water resource quality objectives, and here we can report that the target was indeed achieved. Now, target 14 deals with the monitoring of compliance of international obligations. We know that we are in a transboundary catchment, so international obligations are very important, and this too was absolutely achieved. Target number 15 to 18, let me cover all of them at once. They deal with the conversion, the transformation of the irrigation boards into water use associations and the evaluation thereof after the establishment. And here we can report that the submitted proposals for the establishment of the water use associations by the IGs did not meet the requirements for approval, particularly in terms of demographics. Correction measures, the option to explore the incorporation of aligning vacancies within the governance structures of these water user associations, that is an option that is being advanced, and it should help as a corrective measure. We then move on to my final slide in terms of this aspect, the next slide. So we're looking now at target number 19, and here we can report that target number 19 all the way to target 22 are concerned about compliance monitoring and enforcement, along with the processing and registration of water use authorizations. And here, we are particularly pleased to report that all of these targets have been duly achieved. Now, in preparing these slides, we thought it would be absolutely wise and most appropriate to give you members further details into the modalities of our business. So the next few slides provide further details in that regard for your indulgence. However, we need not subject you to these details, given time as well. I see it's about 10 minutes now. I want to leave some time for the CFO. So I will just fly through them. Slide number 13, the next one. So over here, we provide details regarding the monitoring of quality and quantity. The next slide. And then here we then delve into the status of surface water availability. The next slide. And then along with the availability, we look at the balance. Water balance is very important. And then the next slide. And then thereafter, we provide the status of the respective water quality, and that is very core. So here you look at the various variables and parameters regarding water quality. Next slide. Well, these two slides here, we then further highlight the water quality hotspot areas. So those are the ones in red. The next slide. We can then also move on to the next slide. Now, we have also reported on our transformation initiatives. If we go to the next slide. These are transformation initiatives in terms of job creation. So that is highlighted in the next slide. And so you can see the transformation initiatives in terms of job creation. And then in the next slide, we highlight transformation in terms of education and empowerment. What are we doing in that regard? In the next slide, we highlight transformation in terms of the sector. We already spoke about this, the irrigation boards and transforming them into water use associations. And then lastly, we provide transformation initiatives in terms of procurement measures, the BEE suppliers and the likes. So moving on to the next slide, we have also provided further details regarding HR and business support activities. And if you go to the next slide, we start here with
3 minutes left. You've got 3 minutes left.
In that case, then let me go to slide number 27. So these are HR issues. So at this point, slide number 28. So at this point, we have now thoroughly covered all the intricacies of non-financial performance. Accordingly, we can now turn our attention towards financial aspects. And having said that, I would hereby allow the CFO to indulge us in this regard. Thank you, members. CFO, 3 minutes. My apologies.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, honourable members. I will try and utilize the time allocated, remaining rather. Just to indicate to the committee, Chair, that we have, as indicated, we did receive an unqualified audit opinion in the financial year. We did have audit findings raised, just housekeeping matters, but centrally issues around the going concern of the agency, as indicated as well. SAP issues were a huge challenge for us during the financial year as well. The agency did report a deficit in the financial year under report, which still indicates, Chair, that there are still prevalent financial issues regarding to revenue streams that we're collecting on permissible revenue streams that are coming through to the agency. And in terms of the statement of financial performance that has been flagged, Chair, we would like to indicate that there was a loss reported in this particular year. We did report reduction in revenues as indicated, really owing to the reduction in some of the augmentation that was dispersed to the agency. Expenditure, however, Chair, would like to report that was reported reduced by about 2%, and that's owes to deliberate efforts applied by management in terms of really managing costs, understanding the challenges of funding the department currently experiences. Moving on to the statement of financial position, we would want to indicate to the committee this evening that the agency remains as a solvent entity. We have reported a strong balance sheet with assets that have steadily increased when we compare it to the last previous years. Liabilities as well have steadily increased as well, but certainly the increase of those liabilities is not comparable to how our asset base has increased. We've also presented the cash flow statement, Chair, and that is just really to indicate to the committee that in terms of our liquidity, we are able to meet our financial obligations as they fall due. The cash on hand has reduced over the year, the comparative years, again indicating that we have experienced huge reductions in the revenue streams that have come through owing to the reduced augmentation over the years. If we move to the statement of comparison between the budget versus actuals, here, Chair, would like to then indicate that we did perform within the budget parameters, although we had one non-compliance matter, which was non-compliance with the PFMA Section 53, and this owed to a journal that was passed during the audit as recommended by the external audit team. And then we also then wanted to indicate the external audit findings, and that is really towards the end of the slide, Chair, where we've just indicated that there were five audit findings that were raised. However, just to give comfort to the committee, we have an implementation plan already that is being implemented to really prepare the agency in order to mitigate against these findings in the next audit cycles. Just in an overall report, Chair, in terms of our financial results, the agency is still solvent. We have been able to restore a high level of liquidity, and that's exemplified by the results that we presented tonight. However, Chair, we still remain cash constrained, and so the external auditors again have also signed off our financials on the proviso, Chair, that we do get support from the department as well as internally identifying alternative revenue streams in order for us to really remain as a going concern in terms of our financial sustainability. There is still a dependency on the augmentation and as well as revenue that is collected from the water users. In this regard as well, we are strengthening our debt collection mechanisms to ensure that we really maximize on debt that we collect from the water users. That is just a high level, Chair, in terms of the finances. The details are available to the committee. I would like to then hand the presentation over back to the CE. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, CFO. I will hand back to my chair board, the board chairperson, and back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Finally, just to conclude that we still have a risk of surrendering cash in hand that should actually be assisting us in balancing the augmentation with the shortfalls that we have. But over and above that, the audit it's an unqualified audit, despite the performance that it's compared to the previous year's performance. It's a bit low for this year. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Over to you.
Thank you.
And we are ready for any questions from the members.
Yeah, we'll deal with the questions at the end. Breere Olifants, Minister, can they continue, or would you?
The Breere Olifants Chair, let's allow them to proceed. They're led by Umbuleni Umnisi, supported by Mr. Van Staden. It's also an old CMA, but it's reconfigured, but building on a good record of the Breede one. Let's allow them to take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You can continue.
Good evening, Chairperson, and good evening, the Deputy Ministers, the chairs of the entities, the departmental staff. It's great to be here to present the annual financial report. Chairperson, with me, I have the chairperson of the audit committee with us, Mr. Thys Delport. We also have the acting CE, Mr. Jan van Staden. We also have this chief, financial officer, Ms. Zanela Mngoma, as well as senior management, Sylvia Mbombo, and Prudence Mahlaba, who will be helping us with the presentation. Chairperson, let me hand over to the CE to take us through the presentation. I hope that he's been given the rights to be able to present this evening. Thank you very much. Mr. Jan van Staden, through you, Chairperson. I hope his time starts now.
Started when you started.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good evening, Chairperson, and good evening to the honourable members and all the other important people.
Can I just say, Mr. Van Staden, there's a scratch on your microphone. Can you maybe just double check on that, please? It's making a noise.
Is it better now, Chairperson?
Not for me. I don't know what other members are saying.
He has a background noise that is not good.
Here, there's nothing on the background.
Okay, Mr. Van Staden, can you try and sort out your signal and your sound? Then I would go to Pongola first and come back to you if you don't mind.
Right, thank you, Chair.
Pongola, through you, Deputy Minister.
No, thank you so much. The leadership of Pongola is led by Dr. Tava Kelly, and then the acting CE is Mr. Buthelezi Zakele. They can proceed with your permission. Doc, you have the floor to make the presentation.
Before you start, can I ask Mr. Van Staden just to close his mic, please? Ma'am, you're welcome to start. You're muted. You are still muted.
It's Dr. Carver Kelly, and then the acting CE.
Your Excellency Chairperson, Mr. Basson, honorable members on the platform, deputy ministers, the officials from the department, the DG in particular, board chairpersons that are present. I'm sharing this platform with the acting CEO, Mr. Buthelezi. So he's basically going to lead us in this presentation. Over to you, Mr. Buthelezi.
Oh, thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, honorable members, honorable deputy ministers, colleagues from the CMAs. I am not sure if the presentation is clear.
It's clear, and you can continue.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, I will be presenting on behalf of Pongola Umzimkulu on the non-financial matters. Mr. Mwatse from the Department of Water and Sanitation, the CFO, will present the financial performance matters. This is just a table of contents. The strategic overview. I am not going to take you through this. This is the strategy map. We had 4 outcomes, which will deal more in details when it comes to the actual performance. In terms of the organizational performance, in terms of the non-financial part, this is just a brief overview in terms of the financial performance. We've got 2 programs. Program 1, which deals with the administration. We had 22 targets, of which 11 of those targets were met, 11 we didn't meet. And under Program 2, which is the core mandate of the institution, we had 24 targets, of which 17 were able to achieve and 7 we could not achieve. Chairperson, as indicated earlier about the issues of the office accommodation in the KZN region, where the Proto CMA it's supposed to be doing the function on our behalf, they could not access the office accommodation for the 2024-2025 financial year, which affected us in terms of the performance in some of the indicators, which is still a bit of a challenge, Chair, but it's a matter that is getting an attention from the department in terms of resolving, even though it's not yet fully resolved, but at least the staff is working on a rotational basis. This is still affecting us in this current financial year. Then in terms of our key overall achievement, we've got about 12 indicators overall that we're able to overachieve. 100% attendance in terms of the meetings of the board. We also, Chairperson, achieved a milestone in developing in-house the Catchment Management Strategy, which was submitted to the department for their review. We also want to highlight one of the indicators or target, Chair, which talk to the water allocations in terms of the HDIs. We planned to actually allocate about 2 million cubic meters. We're able to achieve 2.5 million cubic meters. So that is the overall performance. This is just to highlight that this catchment management strategy, Chair, we've developed it in-house. We were working together with SANBI, South African SANBI, we're working with them. In terms of the stakeholder management, we've signed an MOU with SANBI as well as the Dutch Water Authority to assist us in some of the technical areas with their technical expertise. And just to highlight some of the visits that we've undertaken as the board in one of the water management areas that we are responsible for. In terms of Program 1, Chairperson, these are just the summary of the Program 1, which is broken into the Office of the CE. We've got 4 indicators that we're not able to meet, and some of those indicators talk to issues of the annual report as well as the external audit opinion, which falls outside the financial period that we are reviewing, given that it was the first year of operation of the entity. Then we've got others that talk to the shareholder compacts that some of the indicators will not be able to achieve, and the board assessment, we could not do that due to some of the limitation in terms of the board around the staff transfer, which was we could not be able to achieve in the time period that it was agreed on, which affected that. The issue around the internal auditors, 3 of the targets could not be met because of the appointment of the internal auditors, which we delayed in terms of. Then under financial management, the debt collection period as well as the procurement made to the targeted group could not be met. In the corporate services, the turnaround time in terms of filling the vacant positions, that is one of the areas that we did not do well. This is just the detail now in terms of what I've already summarized, and it shows exactly the indicators that we could not be able to meet. I am not going to go in details in terms of that. As you can see, Chairperson, the issues of the data collection is one of the challenges that we are currently facing, as well as the procurement from the targeted group is one of the areas that we did not do well as an entity. Even though one that talks to the procurement from the entities owned by women, at least that we were able to achieve, but the one that owned by youth and person with disabilities, we could not be able to achieve that. Then the other ones that I want to zoom into is the issues of the internal audit. That could not be met because we have not yet appointed the internal auditors, Chairperson. Then in terms of the water resources management program, we've got 4 sub-programs, one that talks to water resource planning and management. 7 targets we were able to achieve, 3 we could not be able to achieve, and under compliance monitoring and enforcement, we're able to achieve all. Water use authorization and registration, 1 we're able to achieve, and 3 we could not be able to achieve. And institutional stakeholder engagement and governance, all of them were able to achieve. The underwater resource planning and management, the number of the rivers monitored, we could not achieve because of the challenges in terms of the procurement due to staff working from home, not having access to the system. That has affected us in terms of traveling, the team traveling to the various monitoring points to do the sampling. That affected the number of river monitored and the number of wastewater discharge point monitored. And the adopt a river, we could not be able to meet that as well. Also under water use authorization, the percentage of the application of the approved within the validity period that could not be met, as well as the number of compulsory licensing and number of VNV, due to the fact that this program was driven from the head office in terms of the monitoring thereof. So these are the details which shows the first two is the sampling points that we could not do for the surface water as well as the waste discharge, and then the adopt a river. The other we're able to meet in terms of those. Then in terms of this, under the compliance monitoring, we were able to overachieve. I don't know what happened there. We were able to overachieve in some of those, and the one that we could not be able to meet is the number of properties for compulsory licensing and the number of validation and verification that we could not achieve because the program is actually driven from the department's point of view, Chairperson. Then the others, in terms of these, I'm not going to dwell much. We've been doing well. A majority were able to overachieve, that is under institutional stakeholder engagement and governance. That is just the overview in terms of the non-financial performance, Chairperson. I will then hand over to Mr. Mwase to take us through in terms of the financial performance.
You've got 4 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'll try and summarize the presentation. Let me first, Chairperson, build on what the Director General has said to confirm that we were still in the process of transition in line with the Public Finance Management Act. We're still busy drawing up the inventories, the reconciliations, as well as the transfers that we should be making to the CMAs. So that opening of bank accounts, which will be handing over and transferring to the CMA. Let's move straight to slide number 21. Then I'll talk to the revenue there. That for the financial year, as indicated by the DG, everything is operated from the department side. We have managed to record revenue of 151, of which 27 million is coming from the augmentation, with the spending of 87 million, including impairment of financial assets. 48 million relates to the staff cost that we have recovered from the PUCMA for the staff that is working on this from the proto-CMA side. And then on slide number 22, the debt book, in terms of the assets, cash and cash equivalent, as indicated, we are still using the department's bank accounts. We haven't as yet activated the CMA's accounts. That will be operated by the CMA, but we have opened the accounts. The debt book is sitting at 64 million and our liabilities at 2 million. Most of these, Chairperson, relate to invoices that were due at year end. The main commitments still remain with the department. And then in terms of the AGSA report, AGSA did brief the committee earlier on today around the qualification. We can start from slide number 25 there, which relates to revenue. Chairperson, we have started with the billing of water resource management under each of these CMAs. So that is where we had also a different view with the Auditor General, but we did also engage the Office of the Accountant General. They have responded on how we should be treating this, but the view still remains that the function of water resource management has now moved out of the department. So the revenue that was being queried here relates to the prior year. Then there were also some of the issues raised regarding the figure reports. We have clarified those to the Auditor General. We have provided the homes reports that were being queried. Another critical issue that was raised relates to employee-related costs. Both my colleagues as well as Buthelezi indicated the challenges that we had We have provided, Chairperson, all the reports, supporting documentation for the payroll that we have charged against the PUCMA. Unfortunately, due to time constraints and SEP-related challenges, as well as access to the building, some of the information was submitted after the cut-off that the AGSA has given to us. Another area relates to procurement and contract management. We have shared with the Auditor General the instruction note from Treasury. We have complied by inviting sometimes 10, 15 of the service providers, and only 2, for example, would have responded. But those were duly approved, and we are following up, Chairperson. All these are happening in the department through the water training entity, not yet in the CMA. So this is one of the areas that we are currently engaging the Auditor General with as we prepare the transfer. Chairperson, I'll be repeating the same for some of the CMAs. Let me stop there and to remain within the 5 minutes and hand back to CE and Chairperson.
Yeah, thank you very much. You've managed your time very well. Can I just find out, Pereira Olifants, have you sorted out your problem?
Chair, I can try again. How's the sound now?
110%.
Okay, it seems to me the sound mustn't be linked to my face. That's where the crack is coming from.
Is it the old face that's full of cracks? I'm joking. Okay, you can continue then.
Thank you. Can I get a presentation, please?
Jan, you are now the co-host. I think you can flag your presentation from your side.
And remember, Jan, when you do your work, reserve some minutes for CFO. We have a bad record where CFOs are given only 2-3 minutes. Thank you.
Mr. Van Staden, you can flag. You are a co-host.
Chairperson, can I just ask Sylvia, can you slide a presentation, please?
Zuko can also fly it.
Can you fly it for us, please?
The departmental team will flight it quickly, Zuko. Just do it quickly, and then through you, Chair, Mr. Van Staden will tell them which slide they must go to.
Okay, thank you. Go to slide number 5, please. Okay, just for the start of general interest, the area of the Bokma is almost the entire area of the Western Cape and a part of the Northern Cape and the Eastern Cape also. Next slide, please. Again, the area, all the local municipalities. There are 5 district municipalities and 1 metro and 21 B municipalities. Next slide, please. This one is important where we talk later on the attainment of the targets. It's just the strategic programs of the Bokma. There are water resource planning, water use management, institutional and stakeholder relations, water allocation reform, water resource protection, strategic support and management and governance. That is what the function of the CMA is all about, to cover those functions I mentioned just now. Next slide, please. Also, as a matter of interest, the Bokma, we do various grant policy community projects that are water related. And here you can see some of the slides. I mean, it's water tanks, etc. Next slide, please. Here is another one where we actually is a removal of the alien vegetation, where the local people are making wood, etc., and then replant the area again of indigenous type of vegetation. Next slide. Here is also one community vegetable garden and also aquaponics that we implemented in the Bokma area. Some nice photos and nice projects. Next slide. And here we come now to the performance information. For a year, the BOCMA actually achieved, it depends who is doing the calculation, but between 80 and 83% of our targets were met. And the BOCMA also received a clean audit. So number one is all the water resource planning processes, and most of them, this one was actually partially achieved because of the late appointment of some of the service providers. Next one, please. This one is dealing with water use management. That is, if not the most important function of a CMI. And here I can say all the indicators, all the targets were actually met and exceeded. Next slide, please. Okay, I can just look at the verification of water use per property. For this one, the target was 300, and we actually verified 717 properties in the BOCMA area. So the target was well exceeded, and the BOCMA is now very close to verification of all the water use in the BOCMA area. Next slide. A CMI can only be successful if it involves all the local stakeholders and the communities. So the BOCMA spent a lot of energy on this one to capacitate and build awareness under the stakeholders. And here you can see the targets that were reached were actually enormous and exceeded in many places. So for this one, the target was 100% achieved. Next one, please. I can just mention that the BOCMA is also budgeted to transform all the irrigation boards into water user associations in our area. And our target was to transform everybody, but we actually achieved 90%, and the 10% was actually a little bit out of the BOCMA control, but we put things in place to rectify it. Next slide, please. This one is dealing with water allocation reform. I mean, in the bottom line here, in the BOCMA area, we support all resource poor farmers of technical knowledge, where possible, also access to finances, also in other spheres of government, and we make a whole commitment about it to actually empower resource poor farmers. And then we also link to this one, we've got a project where we install rainwater harvesting tanks. This is purely for irrigation in back gardens for food gardening. And the target there was 400, and we actually achieved the 400. So the target was met. Next slide. Next slide, please. And here linked to water resource protection. This is actually linked to a pollution control and pollution incidents, where we log all non-compliant cases and actually investigate it. Our target was 80% of all the reported cases, and we actually achieved 95%. And we take the pollution of water resources in the area of the BOCMA very serious, and we implement things to remedy it and get it in place. And then the waste discharge system, I mean, that means the registration actually of all the entities and industries that discharge waste. They were registered on the system, and they do get invoices now for the waste discharge. Next slide. Here I can just quickly summarize that, as I said already, the BOCMA did achieve a clean audit, no findings. So all our strategic report, complying with legal prescripts, supply chain procedures, everything, risk report, everything was in place, and this one was 100% achieved. Next slide, please. Here is linked to our procurement, where we target different types of small enterprises and micro enterprises and women and youth and people with disabilities. And here the targets were mostly achieved. It was only in cases where it's actually difficult to find those type of enterprises in the operating area of the BOCMA, but the BOCMA is also putting things in place to rectify that. Next slide, please. It's the same here. Exempted micro enterprises is the targets were mostly exceed, and where not, we put things in place to rectify it in going forward. Next slide, please. Here I want to just mention this one. Go to the slide, the previous one, please. Yes, just stop there. I want to talk about the percentage of water resource management charges collected. The target of the BOCMA was 78%, but what actually was achieved was 44%. And this is from last year where the BOCMA achieved in the order of 90%. And the reason for the bad deviation here is actually that it's to do with the combining of the Proto CMI with the BOCMA area, where the BOCMA is accountable for the revenue collection, but all the invoices, etc., is still coming from the department side. So going forward, this is vital for the BOCMA for its own sustainability. So the BOCMA will put things in place to improve this revenue collection for the whole of the BOCMA area. And hopefully we can report next year that the target will again be 78% and north of that. Then when it comes to our organogram, 96% full, there's no problem. We even appointed interns for the year. Next slide, please. Yeah, like I said again, we receive a clean audit, shareholder compact signed with the minister, and we also signed different agreements with other state entities in the area of operation of the BOCMA. Next slide. Just quickly, employment equity. The members can read quicker that I can read, but the BOCMA is a total representative water entity in South Africa. Next slide, please. When it comes to the gender, so in the BOCMA there are 59% of the officials are women and 41% are men, and it's spread over all the ranks of the BOCMA, all the income levels. Next slide, please. And now to Chair to Zanele for the finances. Zanele,
you've got 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm trying to put on my video, but in fact, I'm failing to do so. All right. Thank you, Chair. I'll be quickly. The first slide is just showing the overview of operational cost. You will notice that all the line items has increased. Budget versus expenditure has increased as well. It's due to the merging of two entities, which is Bredehorst CMA and the Proto CMA. Our budget has increased from 213, has increased by 116 million, from 97 million to 213. Also, the expenditure increased from 94 million to 281 million. All these increases were attributed by the merger. You will also notice, Chair, that we reported that the depreciation and amortization also increased from 1.5 million to 2.2 million. This was also attributed by the assets that has reached its useful life but still in use. We re-evaluated our assets. That's why you will see an increase in depreciation and amortization. All right, slide 2. Can skip this one because it's just a graph of the one before. Okay, this other slide is about the revenue analysis and the source of funding. We reported an increase of 51% for the augmentation from the department, which is from 42 million to 63 million. That also was caused by the merger of the two entities. And also we reported that the revenue from Catchment Management charges has increased compared to the prior year. The reason for that also was the expansion of the area, which resulted to the increase in the database of Ubogma. We also reported the decrease in the number of debtors.
I think she has left us. Or is it only myself?
Chairperson, may I ask that maybe the chairperson of the Audit and Risk, if he's here and able to proceed, just to save time
for the
CD through you.
Okay, she's back.
She's back. Thank you, Chair.
Continue, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So this decrease in number of days of collections, that also shows that management is putting more effective collection strategy in order to try and collect all the monies that is due to the entity. Next slide. And then you can skip this one. All right, this slide, Chair, is showing the statement of financial position. We reported that assets did exceed the liabilities. There were no matters of going concern when it comes to Bokma finances. We reported a positive net worth when it comes to the financial year under review. Next slide. As Yanni mentioned, that we received a clean audit with no finding. This slide is showing the income and expenditure, whereby we reported a positive cash surplus of 10.2 million compared to the prior year. If you notice that the cash surplus was decreased, the reason for that, when you decrease the budget, the operational cost also decrease, which also have a huge impact on the cash surplus. Next slide. Projects that will roll over to this financial year, a letter has been submitted to Treasury in order for us to continue with this. We have reasons of not completing this project. The alien clearing was due to bad weather of last financial year. The Western Cape experienced a lot of rains, which delays the project. The cash management strategy, we went on tender twice for that one, and then it delays because we under budgeted the cost of the tender, so we had to re-advertise again. So we are waiting for Treasury to approve the rollover of these projects. I'll just go straight to the last bulletin. Management is continuing to maintain a strict budget control to prevent negative cash flow. This is an indication that the agency can meet its short-term debt obligation and has adequate financial resources to continue in operation for the foreseeable future. As I said earlier on, Chair, I'm glad to report to the members that the agency has no issues of going concern, and also the agency can meet its short-term obligation. We have enough resources to continue in the near future. And that's all from my side, Chair.
That's our presentation, Chairperson. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Well in time, Pongola. Through you, Deputy Minister.
The Pongola one, we have taken it, Chair. I think we have Vokma now, the Val one, led by...
My apology, Limpopo.
Oh, it's Limpopo. Limpopo is led by Advocate Tato Mwe, our chairperson. She's supported by our acting CEO, Ntate Matebula. Let's allow our advocate, with your permission, Chairperson, to introduce their presentation.
The 15 minutes starts now.
And they are supported as a new entity by the department, and the CFO is still assisting them, like DG said. They are part of in a transitional arrangement. Thank you. Advocate, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, and greetings to yourself and as well as to the honorable members of the Portfolio Committee. Greetings to the Deputy Minister Mahlobo and Deputy Minister Sithulo and to the colleagues in the CMA. Chair, mine is to introduce the team, but before that, I'm going to request that the interim CE, Mr. Matsebula, be given access to share our presentation while I introduce the team. Chair, briefly, the governing body was inducted in December 2024. This is a newly appointed board, still very much in transition. We have the interim CE who was also appointed in December 2024 with a full complement of the board. I think it's 9 members. And just also to mention that the DWS has entered into an MOU with LOCMA in terms of managing the transitional period, and therefore the model being used includes the governance of the transition period with the LOCMA still using the DWS policies, the systems and procedures. As mentioned earlier as well, the process in relation to the transferring of staff has started and it's in progress. And with me this evening, Chair, I have the Deputy Chairperson of the board, Mr. Govender. I've also mentioned the interim CE, Mr. Matsebula, and the DWS CFO, Mr. By the local Lamula, as well as him present to support Chair. Mr. Matsebula will then take us through the non-financial reporting, and then Mr. Mwatso will take us through the finance as well as the audit. Thank you, Chair. Mr. Matsebula, over to you, through you, Chair.
Chairperson, I don't know if I'm audible. My computer the screen is playing out. Hear me, Chairperson?
We can hear you. You can continue.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to share. Can you see my screen?
Your screen is visible. You can continue.
Thank you very much, Chair. Protocol, for the sake of time.
My apology, it's not visible anymore.
My computer is on and off.
Okay, there it's visible now. You can continue now.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. Matsebula, Zuko has flighted on your behalf. I just think maybe you have to put your screen and proceed.
It's moving. You can continue.
Okay, let me try to continue. I think just move to slide number, just scroll down for us so that I can move straight to the performance. The chairperson has already spoken to the initial areas. Maybe stop there. And these are the 5 outcomes that we are performing against. Move to the next slide. Chair, we just gave here a pie chart in terms of a high level how year performed, and you can see that the achievement was sitting at 56%, and there's partially achieved KPIs at 12%, and there are those that are not achieved at all, sitting at 32%. We can move. There are 2 programs that we're performing against, the administration and the water resource management program. Move. We can just keep this one. In terms of the Office of the Chief Executive sub-program under administration, Chairperson, you realize that there was no achievement on financial policies and human resource policies. And the reason stated there is that the timing of the board being established was late, and we were using the policies of the Department of Water and Sanitation. Next slide. In terms of the percentage of targeted procurement budget spent on SMMEs, we overachieved by 3%, but we struggled to get achievement around youth and people with disabilities in the year under review. Next slide. The number of debtors days as well, we did not achieve the 150 target. We're under by 38. The creditors payment days, yes, that was achieved. Chairperson, I will move to the next slide. The next slide talks to a number of finance business processes that were developed. We relied mainly on the DWS business processes during the interim period. Next slide. The communications strategy was not achieved as well because of the appointment of the board that came late, together with that ICT strategy that's actually scheduled for the next financial year or the current financial year. Next slide, please. We had the same challenge with the HR policies, so we relied on the DWS HR policies, as DG indicated that all the staff is still in the Department of Water and Sanitation. The next slide, please. The percentage of vacant positions that were supposed to be filled was 80%, but in the interim, Chairperson, we could not even fill the positions that are for the board under the control of the board. So this is now work in progress. Now that the organogram, the structure is also still going to be concluded for us. The strategic risk register, which is the competency of the board, was not developed in the year under review. Next slide, please. Same with the audit plan. Chairperson was not achieved. We relied on the DWS audit plan. If we look at the water resource compliance monitoring and enforcement, under this program, Chairperson, the number of water users that were monitored for compliance, we actually overachieved by 12. And then the percentage of enforcement actions taken against non-compliant users, that 100%. Next slide. There was an underachievement on the percentage responded to within 24 hours reporting. We achieved 26% for the financial year. Next slide, please. And the percentage of monitoring restrictions within the water management area, that was achieved 100%. The catchment management strategy to be developed was not achieved. It's something that is on the cards for this financial year. Next slide, please. We did achieve 100% on the percentage of compliance with international obligations, and then same with the number of rivers in which the river ecosystem status monitoring program is implemented. Next slide. There was another achievement on the number of rivers systems monitored for implementation of resource-directed measures. We actually got a 50% achievement on that one. But we did achieve the number of strategic points monitored for water resource quality, 347. Next slide. Number of strategic points monitored for groundwater resource, that was overachieved. The number of strategic points monitored for groundwater resource levels, that was achieved 100%. Next slide. In terms of the waste discharge charge strategy implementation, we had targeted 60% or more. We achieved 30%. Next slide, please. The percentage of applications for water use authorization processed within the applicable period, we had targeted more than 80%. We achieved 65%. And these challenges come with the limited human resources that we have in the financial year under review. We overachieved on the percentage of approved water use authorizations registered in the WOMS. Next slide, please. The number of existing water users verified was underachieved by 2,643. And also the number of existing water users validated there was an underachievement on that one as well. Next slide. The number of irrigation boards transformed into water user association, we targeted 4, we only achieved 2. Next slide. 2%, there was underachievement on these ones. The institutions of institution stakeholder engagements and governance, a sub-program. And the main reasons around this is that these institutions are still far behind. They actually do not have annual performance plans that we had to verify. So there's a lot of work that must still be done in this financial year to capacitate them to the level where they can produce these reports. Next slide, please. In terms of the stakeholder engagement plan developed, there is a draft stakeholder engagement plan that was developed, so it was achieved. Next slide. Chairperson, this is where I end and allow the CFO of the department to take us through the financial performances. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Let's go straight to slide number 40, Zuko. Chairperson, the LOCMA is covering Northwest, Popo, and Mpumalanga. So the revenue that we have collected through the tariff is 322 million, and 88 million was the transfer from the department. And for the financial year, the amount of money we've paid to the employees is 115, as indicated, is covering 3 provinces that we have been working with as a department, and the total surplus is 97. And you will see also on the next slide, Zuko, that most of this money is still locked up in the debtors. We are using the same systems and processes of the department, including those debt collections and incentive schemes, water relief, debt relief schemes. And we have also standardized the operating procedures which we are using. Cash and cash equivalent, as also indicated previously, that we have opened the bank accounts. We are ready to begin with the transfer to the CFOs that have been appointed by the CMAs, and the liabilities are at 5.6 million. Then the remainder of the slides, we can move, Zuko. Just an overview, Chairperson, that I'll do on the AGSA, not to repeat the presentation as well. They are basically issues that we have dealt with around the system that we have managed to restore, as well as the work that we're doing with SITA around SEP, the proposal that we are migrating also to the cloud platform. And from the department side, we have performed the reconciliations. We will be handing over. In the year under review, the CMA could not present any of its financial statements for reasons that DG also articulated. So there were always those expectations from the Auditor General. For example, the disclosure notes would be informed that for your commitments, we should be disclosing information around the buildings, how much are we owing on those, but those are disclosed by the department for this period. So we have worked together with the provincial offices to get ready for the transfer that Austogo spoke to my colleague, Mr. Gwaza, earlier on, to address the issues that the AG has raised in this report. And we are ready to hand over the books as well as the work that we have done to the CMA. And any other matters of audit, as we've indicated, we are also working with the Office of the Accountant General, where they've been giving us technical opinions. That is the summary. Chairperson, is more or less the same as the previous one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Also nicely in time. Mzimvubu, through you, Deputy Minister.
Chairperson Mzimvubu is led by the chairperson Kondlo and is supported by the acting CEO. Just to the acting CEO there, it's Mjwaha, and our CFO is assisting them. They're on transition, but we can allow Utata Osimpiwe Nkondlo to lead the team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Good evening, Honorable Chair, Honorable Deputy Ministers, Honorable members of the committee, and fellow CMAs. We are one of those that were established a little bit late, and we got inducted as a board only end of January this year. And the department is still assisting us. So I will be asking our interim CEO, Mr. Sibusiso Mjwaha, to lead the presentation, and you'll be assisted by the CFO of the department. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Good evening, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, the two DMs, the honorable members of the committee, the DG, board members, our fellow colleagues. My name is Sibusiso Mjwaha, the interim CE. I will be quick. Our slides were getting too long with the inclusion of the financial information. I have tried to reduce our presentation and summarized the performance in one slide. However, I was following when my colleagues were presenting that maybe given the opportunity, I can quickly pull up the annual report and go straight to the section when it comes to the performance targets performed. Kindly continue assisting in terms of the presentation. Yes, this is the catchment profile of our area in terms of where it is. It is number 5. Next slide, please. I've already touched on this one. It was already presented. This is the legislative mandate, which I believe it is known to everyone in this meeting. Can we proceed to the next slide? This is our purpose, the vision, and the mission, of which I'm not going to read through it. In terms of our program structure, we have administration and the water resource management program. Next slide, please. I've already touched on this one. This is the slide I was talking about, that in terms of the annual performance reported against targets approved in the APP for the financial year. Mzimvubu Titsikama had 2 budgeted programs with a total of 32 performance indicators under the programs below admin with 14 performance indicators, the water resource management with 18 performance indicators. For program 1, there is a total of 10 performance indicators that the CMA could not be measured as they were dependent on the governing board appointment. In our case, the board was appointed and the induction only took place at the end of January 2025, which then left the board with almost a month in terms of providing its oversight for the CMA. However, the DG, as indicated, remained the accounting authority for the MTCMA. Only 4 of those indicators could be completed by the department proto-CMA, and those were measured. For program number 2, the water resource management, we had 18 performance indicators that were all measured. Chair, this is where I thought where I couldn't include, Chair, the each performance indicator and performance. Looking at the length of our slides, there is a lot that the CFO is still going to present in terms of the financial performance of the CMA. However, Chair, if the Chair wants to see the performance of the CMA per target, I will then request permission to pull the annual report and go straight to those sections to take the committee through each performance target.
You have sent that to us. We've gone through this. You're more than welcome to go to your finances now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Chairperson. At this point, Chair, I will then hand over to CFO of the department, who is also assisting us in terms of the MOU. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will start again with the financial summary for the CMA. As indicated, we are finalizing the transfer. We are ready to hand over the books to the CMA. For the CMA this financial year, our revenue is 120 million, and 22 million came from appropriation that Parliament made available through transfer to the CMA, with 98 million being the billing that we have charged to the users. And it's only in the Eastern Cape, our employee cost is 49 million, operating costs 7 million, and all these costs are costs that we are recovering from the department. They were not entered into by the CMA. So we can proceed to the next slide on the summary of assets and liabilities. The cash and bank is still the same reason that I provided with the previous ones. And our debt book was at 32 million. We are implementing the very same intervention measures that we are implementing on the water trading entity. And the liabilities are at 971. Again, these are those specific accruals for your payroll as well as your invoices. All other liabilities are still in the name of the department. We can proceed to the next slide. Now, in terms of the audit outcomes, we are implementing the very same corrective measures that we are having on the water trading entity. So, Chairperson, the same issues that we have raised, we can move Zuko to slide number 16. There was an issue around the management representation letter. We did submit those with the Accountant General, sorry, the Director General of the department. We have provided all these assurances to the Auditor General. We also confirmed with them there was a timing issue, but we did submit all the information that was required. Then similarly, on the revenue issues that have been raised on the subsequent slides, it relates to the accounting treatment, and we have already obtained the opinions from the Office of the Accountant General, and we have applied all those technical opinions, including the billings that were outstanding. We have finalized all those. The other items relates to disclosure, Chairperson, are similar to the ones of the previous CMAs, where I've indicated that the expectation was that the CMAs should be disclosing specific disclosure requirements, but we have indicated to the Auditor General that those are covered in the water trading entity. But as we'll be finalizing the handover, our CMA and the board will be able to make full disclosures as well as reporting as required. Also implementation of some of the or all the recommendations of the Auditor General. So there is the overview, Chairperson, who will deal with specifics as we get to the answer session later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Then the last one is Val Orange. Through you, Deputy Minister.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Our last presentation is led by my brother, the Chairperson of the board, Mr. Desmond Fransman. Is supported by the CEO, Mayor Lerato Morake, and also our CFO is assisting them, Chairperson. They are part of those transitional one that we need to wrap up so that they are fully functional. But we'll hand over to the chair, my brother Fransman.
Thank you. You can continue, it's fine.
Honorable Chairperson, Mr. Leon Basson, thank you very much, and the members of the Portfolio Committee, our Honorable Deputy Ministers, Mahlobo and Situlu. And to save time, Chair, let me stand on the established protocol. Chair, I am with our CEO, Mayor Lerato Morake, who will be taking us through the non-financial part, and Mr. Frans Moatse, the Chief Financial Officer of DWS, he will be taking us to the financial part of our annual performance. So I think without further ado, Chair, let me then just give over to them. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. They can continue in flight report.
Good evening, Honorable Chairperson. I'm Lerato Morake. Good evening, Deputy Ministers, the Honorable Portfolio Committee members, the chairpersons of the CMAs, and the colleagues from the DWS. I'll be taking the committee through the performance report. Zuki, if we can go straight to slide number 3. Under slide number 3, we indicate our area of operation that Val Orange has about 1 million square kilometers across South Africa. And then the waters are under the Orascom agreement between Lesotho, South Africa, Botswana, and Namibia. We can go to slide number 6. Under slide number 6, we do have performance that is monitored under 2 programs. Program 1, which is administrative, which we have achieved about 33% on that. When we look at the Office of the CE, the sub-program Office of the CE, all the policies that needs to be in place were developed, the target were exceeded. However, when we look at the audit plan that needs to be developed, the draft audit plan could not be developed due to capacity constraint. However, the function of the audit internal audit currently is being capacitated. The next slide. If we go to sub-program finance, if we look at the two targets on the slides, they were not met. The SMM targeted procurement budget spent on SMMEs, we did not meet the target due to limited pool on the services that were required. The debtors days also where we did not achieve due to the challenge of implementing a new charge, which is a waste discharge charge, which our customers are querying. However, currently workshops are being done to capacitate our customers to understand the reason why it's implemented. We can go to the next slide, which is finance. When you look at finance, the two targets, debtors days and current ratios, are met. And when we look at the last, it's a number of finance business processes developed, we did not meet the target due to policies that were developed. However, there were some two policies where the process were not adequately developed. However, it has since been addressed. Can we go to the next slide? The next slide, it's a sub-program, corporate services, corporate support services. When we look at the targets on the slides, it's targets that communication strategy, ICT strategy, number of human resource business process developed. All these targets were not met because they are dependent on availability of human resources. I think on this one, the DG has already indicated measures that are in place to ensure that as a CMA, we get the resources required. We can go to the next slide. The next slide is a sub-program risk and compliance management. We were able to develop a risk plan and register where we have monitored it and implemented. Now we go to the second program, which is water resource management, which is under the water resource management program 2, we have water resource planning and management. When it comes to catchment management strategy, we were unable to draft to conduct situational assessment, also due to capacity constraints. However, the process to initiate the support in terms of drafting the strategy has been initiated. When we look at the two last indicators, monitoring of rivers in line with ecosystem, and also implementing the resource directed measures, we were able to meet the targets. Can we go to the next slide? The next slide is water resource. The next slide is water resource management planning. We had a number of strategic points monitored for water quality. We could not meet the target in the previous financial year due to the laboratory contract that had its own challenges. That had the challenges that did not violated the conditions of the contract. However, the problem is being addressed to ensure that monitoring do take place. We do have the target of waste discharge strategy being implemented. This target in the Val River could not be met due to, it was a new target that was implemented. However, we could not meet it due to unclear description of the indicator. It has since been resolved. When we go to sub-program compliance monitoring and enforcement, when it comes to number of water users monitored for compliance, and also when we look at percentage of pollution incidents that we responded to. These two targets, we could not meet them due to the travel contract that had lapsed. And we had the percentage of action taken against non-compliant users in terms of the license. We were able to achieve the target. Can we go to the next slide? The next slide is water use authorization and registration. The percentage of application for water use authorization processed within the applicable time, we could not meet the target because during the year we had new employees who required training. So that also created a backlog. However, when it comes to percentage of approved water use authorization to be processed on WOMS, we were able to meet the targets. When it comes to institution, stakeholder and engagement and governance, if we look at all the targets, we were able to meet the targets because all this, if you can go to the next slide. Thank you. This sub-programs encompasses compliance with internal obligations. We were able to meet that, and it also covers transforming irrigation boards into water use associations. And that we need to evaluate them and assess to ensure that they are in operation. We also were able to meet the targets. I will hand the next slide. Under the employment equity status, we are able, this graph depicts the employment that had statistics within VOC. We had about 67% of African females, and then we had about 33% colored females. For Part B, Chair, may I hand over to the department CFO, Mr. Mwati. Thank you.
We've got 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. The transfer of function, Zuko, thank you very much. It's similar to the previous ones that we have finalized our reconciliations and transfer schedules. We are going to finalize as per the plan that Ms. Sikwaza presented by the end of October, moving through to November and December. As staff move, we'll also be transferring those assets, signing off together with the CFOs and the CEs on the other side. Then we can move to the next slide. In terms of financial summary, Chairperson, we have 3 provinces that make up the Vaal Orange, Gauteng, Free State, and Northern Cape. And the revenue that we have raised there for the financial year is 452, with 43 million being the transfer from the department. And employee cost in total, we paid 108 million, which we have recovered from the CMA through the current arrangement. And operating expenditure, which is your travel, your leases that you are paying, the subsistence and travel claims for the employees, those are also covered in these costs. We can move to the next slide. Then on the assets, cash and equivalent, they are the same, that we have the bank accounts that I will be handing over to the CFOs once they have received their stuff. So currently, we are still making use of the department's Paymaster General account with National Treasury. Everything is going through the department. Our debt book is at 142 million. And the current liabilities, which is part of what the Auditor General has also raised in the report, Chairperson, is 7.4 million. That represent, most of it is the amount that is owed to the water trading entity by the VOCMA. So as we are transacting on behalf of the CMA, at the end of the financial year, the cash that we have collected for this specific CMA was less than the payments that we have made on their behalf, but we have also provided those reconciliations. We can move to the next. So the AG's report, as we'll be dealing with the details, Chairperson, is the same, that the remedial actions that we are implementing with management, the Director General on the WTE and the department are also being used for the proto-CMAs. So each specific item that has been raised by the AG, we have responded, and where we needed to get clarification, we have done so, as I've indicated, for all the CMAs, especially around revenue recognition. So we have processed all the outstanding billings, all the reconciliations have been performed. So we are ready now to hand over the books so that the CMAs, once they receive the staff and the supplement with their own resources, will be able now to deal with the full compliance and reporting as required by the PFMA as well as the GRAP standards. That is a summary, Chairperson, and then we will deal with the details when requested later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we go to questions, Minister, do you want to finally add something, you or the DG or Deputy Minister Setolo?
On my side, the Chairperson, the transitional period poses a number of challenges, especially on the 4 remaining catchment management agencies. And we as a ministry, we are looking at a transitional plan, especially with respect to key issues. One of the key issues, Chairperson, is around the capacitation, human resource capacity for this organization, because now the boards are in place, the CEOs are there, but in a number of instances you could see that the CEOs are acting and the boards are actually putting all the requirements in terms of policies, in as much as there are model policies that are there. We need to finalize these particular issues. Therefore, now that the ministry supported DG around engagement with labor, it's an important matter that now the issues of trust transfer and the staff transfer plan, including the change management plan, must kick off in earnest. Then there are serious issues that as a ministry will keep an eye on them. The serious matter is about viability. How viable are they? Remember, these CMAs, some of them, they're in areas where the water users, in terms of the trading account that we are charging, some of them, they're well off, the others are not well off, and the support system that needs to be there. But you could see that as a ministry, we are concerned about some of the shortcomings, but we're very confident that our management, led by DG and the team, working with these capable boards led by men and women, we should be able to do well, and drawing experiences from the 2 old existing CMAs and the work we do as we're managing the transition chair. Very, very important, because it has been done by the department over years, but to democratize, to ensure that water, in terms of water resource management principle, is managed more at a local level. That's what we'll do, Chairperson. I thought just to emphasize those particular issues, and including the issues of the turnaround plans around where the audit outcomes, they don't look very good. And thank the CFO and the finance team that from a financial management point of view, they are supporting them. That will be my input, Chair, and then DMC Lulu is here, and then he has some weights too, so that at least we can engage with honorable members in terms of these reports that are being presented as part of our compliance and and accountability on annual reports. Thank you, Chair.
Minister, Honourable Deputy Minister Sitolo, are you covered?
Chairperson, suffice to say that the challenges that have been highlighted by the presenters in terms of our chairperson and CEs, acting CEs, of course, are in Setswana, we would say, it means that it is something that the department will endeavor to obviously tackle as per the presentation by the DG and the CFO also earlier this morning. But I do think that we need to allow the portfolio committee members an opportunity to also then engage with the presentations as we endeavor to make sure that we make our CMAs as viable as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you. DG, final word from your side?
No, I'm covered by the deputy ministers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable Dikebe.
Chairperson, good evening once again to you, to our two deputy ministers, DG, his entire team, and all our representatives from the CMAs, honourable members. Chairperson, first of all, I'd like to know, in terms of the brief of the CMAs, to what extent is their brief impinged by rivers that are heavily polluted and make it impossible even for the water boards, for example, to abstract water from there? Just about 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago, Chairperson, we went to KwaZulu-Natal, and we visited a number of areas, and one of those was KwaXimba, and one of the officials from the Umgeni Tugela Water Board said that river Umsunduzi is so polluted that they are unable to abstract from it. Now, just from the point of view of the environment and the point of view of revenue, how to what extent does that impinge their brief as the CMAs? In an instance where rivers are heavily polluted, we often talk about the integrated Vaal River system, the extent to which it is polluted, and so forth. So river health, I would imagine, is very central as well to the CMAs. The next question, Chairperson, relates to the Free State. There is a place called Sanfed. There I've received a complaint from one of the members of the public who says that black farmers there are basically discriminated against in terms of allocation of water, because it seems to me, and the department, perhaps with your guidance, Chair, if it could investigate the matter. It is said that that used to be an asset of government, or whether it's been handed over to some private people to run it, whatever the case may be. But in particular, we're talking here about black farmers who are being prejudiced in terms of the use of water in that particular area. It's in the Tswelopele municipality within that jurisdictional area. So I'd like to know, Chairperson, whether the department could perhaps assist us in investigating the allegations in question. This complaint has been persisting for quite some time, and I think perhaps in writing, if this could be done, so that we try and lay it to bed. So, Chair, those would be my two questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Can I ask that you maybe just give the full information, the detail maybe to the department in writing, so that they could look at this and come back to you, as the information is not, I don't think it's sufficient for them to investigate. If you maybe could just forward that to the DG, it would be appreciated. Can I get any answers from any of the water boards The CMA's, my apology, on polluted rivers. I think we've got in all of the areas polluted rivers, and how do you deal with that? Anybody that would like to start? Otherwise, I assume you've all got clean rivers.
Chairperson, perhaps in the context of the integrated Vaal River system, perhaps the CE for VOCMA may want to come in there, as well as LOCMA, because we have done quite a few oversights, particularly to inspect the state of our rivers. If I could give that guidance to the
Well, Minister, whilst this is your portfolio, your section of the portfolio, would you like to lead the discussion on that?
Well, Chairperson, I think it's a conversation that we've had with the portfolio committee members and yourselves. But for specific issues in and around how the CMAs are particularly going to play an integral role and part in assisting us, particularly from an enforcement point of view, to then give the technocrats to then respond, and then whilst we continue to do the work on the ground. So I'll give over to the acting CE for LOCMA and the CE for VOCMA to then be able to respond to that. Although, of course, quite correctly, Chair, there are polluted rivers across the country. Thank you.
VOCMA, can you start with that?
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Deputy Minister. When we talk about the integrated Vaal River system, how it's polluted, we have what we call anti-pollution forum that monitors the quality of the Vaal River system. The forum is made of the academia, it's made up of industries, it's made up of all the interested and affected parties. We also engage with the municipalities that are polluting to ensure that they participate in assisting us to deal with the challenge that we are currently facing. We are also doing an enforcement through monitoring, compliance and monitoring, engaging the relevant municipalities, where some of the enforcement matters we have engaged with them to ensure that they come up with a plan on how they are going to improve and ensure that the effluent does not discharge into the river. We have different committees in terms of water quality monitoring. We have committees in terms of media that we're looking into to ensure that information is being fed to the forum, and support from industries is provided to ensure that pollution is being monitored. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any other CMA?
I saw Mr. wanted to come in.
On the side of LOCMA, where we are handling Limpopo and Northwest and Mpumalanga areas, we are engaging stakeholders, mainly for those who are polluting the systems, mainly those who are discharging into our river system. Not only in the rivers, but also the dams have taken a big punch in terms of hyacinth and other water plants that are growing in the system. So we are robustly engaging them. There are several directives that have been issued to those who are polluting the system. We still seek to have an integrated approach in terms of involving local government to assist us to repair their infrastructure that is polluting the rivers at the moment. I'll pause there, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. DG, I see your hand is up.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to give a bit of a bigger picture as well in response to Honourable Ditebi's question. It doesn't affect the revenue of the catchment management agencies. Their revenue comes from a portion of the raw water charge. the water is polluted affects the costs of the water boards, but it doesn't affect the revenues of the catchment management agencies. Now, the catchment management agencies are essentially regulatory bodies. They're created in terms of the National Water Act, and a large portion of the National Water Act is about giving powers to the department and to the catchment management agencies to protect our water resources, which includes the kind of regulatory actions that the colleagues from the CMAs have been talking about that they've been taking against polluters of our water resources. But I would also just add, Chairperson, that taking regulatory actions against municipalities who are creating sewage pollution in our rivers must be done in terms of the National Water Act. It's very necessary, but it's not sufficient to address the problem. We also need to have other measures to address the problem, including, for example, the amendments to the Water Services Act, which have now been tabled in Parliament, which are about introducing important reforms in the way in which water services are managed at municipal level. We need to change the way municipal water services are managed through those kind of on its own is not sufficient. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, DG. Honourable Ditebe, are you satisfied with the response?
I am, Chairperson. Just one little comment. I think if our CMAs and our water boards could join hands, in particular in raising awareness in communities, so that we do not think of this solely or exclusively as municipalities being responsible for the pollution, because there will also be other private people. These could be companies, etc., be it medical waste or industrial chemicals and stuff like that. But I think if we start, and I've said this before, in the jurisdictional area of each and every CMA, if we could just connect with members and other stakeholders, so that we heighten the levels of awareness, because I think it's only when people are properly educated about everything from climate to global warming to climate change, even to the contamination of very important sources such as rivers, then they will understand and place a great premium on water as a resource and the whole value chain of it. I thought I should just make that comment, Chairperson, and I think it shouldn't just be a lame comment. It's something that some of us are looking forward to, because we do understand that given the previous number of CMAs, those that had to be rationalized so that they are fewer, but nonetheless covering a wider area or jurisdictional sphere within which the CMAs operate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Reddy, your two questions.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think let me begin by making a comment. And in the interest of time, the Deputy Minister, Mashlobo, he can respond. The first issue I want to raise is that I want members, especially members of the committee, to look at this strategically. Let's not look at specific operational issues. Let's look at this strategically. That's why we are here. And let's examine the functions of these CMAs. What is their responsibility? And how is it that, and why is it that these functions cannot be incorporated into existing boards? You will say, well, this is what the Water Services Act says, but we have the power to amend that act so that the system can work. At the moment, we've got a number of CMAs that's performing a function which I believe a board which has wall coverage in the country can be entrusted with that responsibility. Now, I want to touch on the LOCMA board. Let's just take the one, all right? I don't go into all the other ones. Let's deal with this one. It's got 9 board members, and if you look at the board members, we don't have the remuneration of the board members. We just have the names there: Tato Moing, Advocate, Nanda, Governor, Siroka, etc., Rosie, and something, and the 9 board members for one agency, it's quite significant. We don't have their remuneration, we don't have their meeting attendance or their performance data. It's disclosed anywhere in the report. And I think that this omission is in itself a violation of the PFMA and Treasury guidelines, which require full disclosure. What is also what we'd like to have is total board remuneration. When the deputy minister is responding to me, I'd like for him not to do a Minister Senzo Mchunu this type of response and take hours and hours. Be specific. What does it cost the department, or what does it cost boards from the raw water to maintain all these agencies? The total board remuneration for all these agencies, he must give us that. The number of board meetings that they had and that were attended, performance evaluation outcomes, and let's look at what the AG says. The Auditor General findings, it's serious and systemic failures. The AG issued a disclaimer of opinion. Chair, it's the worst possible audit outcome, meaning the AG could not even verify the financial statements at all. And then when I hear presenters say they don't have office space, that staff have to go on rotational basis. And I look at water boards. I was in a water board where there's plenty of office space. That we could actually look at a partnership where spaces could be made available. And we hear now that they don't have spaces, they don't have vehicles and all that. So they basically want more money to be put into this. So I would like the Deputy Minister to, let me just be specific about this. How many of these boards do we have, of these CMAs? What is it costing us? And what needs to be done to be able to incorporate their functions into existing boards? Because I think too many of these boards exist, and I know why they were created. If you go and do an analysis of who has been appointed on these boards, it'll tell you a different story. We may need another ad hoc committee where the Deputy Minister Mashlangu will be there and he'll have to answer. So I'd just like to get a response to that. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable Reddy. Deputy Minister, you're more than welcome to respond and take your time. The Honourable Member can't tell you to be too quick because it takes too long, but you may continue.
He wants to put me in an ad hoc committee. He will be part of that ad hoc committee because he's a former board member.
Happy Diwali, Deputy Minister.
No, happy Diwali to you, leadership.
Okay, let's continue with the work. Thank you.
No, Chairperson, these entities, they are established by law, and Honourable Reddy will appreciate that. They are there in the law, and when the introductory remarks were made by DG and our team, we are fulfilling a process clearly defined in the National Water Act. You can go from Section 60 until 270 to 80 something that you can see. And Chairperson, until such time that we've done an amendment to this legislation, our officials then will not be saying that they are doing something wrong. But we know that these entities were delayed, Chair. You know we have been in the water space all your life. We should have done the CMAs in the first 10 years. After the advent of the National Water Act in 1998, but there were delays, then the numbers came down. We have to appreciate that The department has carried this function over years, and we've carried it very, very well. But it defeated the principle of integrated water resource management and managing at a local level. That's why in the reconfiguration of these CMAs, we're to look at the issues of size and scale, the integratedness of these water systems, but we never only look at the integratedness of the water system chair. The men are now, they've been reduced to 6. We also look at the issues of viability in terms of the water users, because they are not on the same strength. I know, Honorable Reddy, some of the water management infrastructure and assets of the department, in certain instances, they were managed by 2 of the water boards. Umngeni at a time now, it's Umngeni together. That's why there's something called Msitsi Holdings, managing those dams very, very well. And then on the other side, Rand Water, because of capacity, including the monitoring systems. But there has been a discussion in the department. It's not concluded, Honorable Reid. It's not concluded, where some of the work, the AUSISA, which is an association of water utilities, they were of a strong view that we might be able to consider in certain exceptional circumstances where certain of these water boards can be able to look after these water resources. Because some of them, they were looking after it under the authorization and delegation by the ministry at a particular point in time. We have not arrived at a determination whether we agree to that point or not, but even the transition into the new CMAs, we'll have to be able to manage them. But we are also in a position that we are drawing lessons from the 2 CMAs, the Priedem, Olifants, including Nkomatu Setu. After some time, they were established to say how they look like. The information we are looking for, we are absolutely correct that in terms of the annual report, we need to report in terms of governance. But remember, on these ones, some of them, they've just been inducted now. Like if you look at the Val Orange system, they have not been having a number of meetings. But you know, as a former board member, ordinarily ordinary meetings must take place every quarter. In other words, there should be 4 meetings. But then at the very same time, there are also committee meetings. Members belong to committees. And ordinarily committees themselves, they will meet probably before the board itself. In other words, if all committees are functional, you'll probably have a member taking about 8 meetings. But then there is a provision in our own policies internally for special meetings in additional hours. But it's a matter that we will even discuss tomorrow. I know you'll raise the matter tomorrow when we deal with the water boards again. I'll be coming to answer a question on behalf of Minister tomorrow. But the other details on each of them, this currently, how much have we spent? I'll ask the DG do they have the information now. But if they don't have that information, Chairperson, with your permission, we'll agree to submit that information. Honorable Reid, absolutely correct. We'll account on everything. There's no need to
Deputy Minister,
a commission. Thank you.
Deputy Minister, we agreed this morning, you were not present, that that information will be given to us within 14 days, as the Honourable Member now requested. It was requested earlier as well, so that we got an undertaking from the department to forward that to us, as well as the financial statements. Because in the presentations, the board members are not in there, but it is in their statements. So we will also then receive their statements. Thank you.
I'm very comfortable, Chairperson. Yeah. Thanks for the intervention. We'll do that through the ministry and the DG. Thank you.
Honourable Reddy, are you satisfied with the response?
Yes, Chair. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're a star. Thank you. The longer we speak, the more they get paid, Honourable Reddy.
I know. They get excited when I speak. They think the hours are adding up.
You can't be paid extra
Honourable,
time now, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable Moore, you next.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to everyone. Greetings to the Deputy Ministers and the DG and the various board members. I'll keep it short because it's late. Chair, I think there's two issues here that I'd like to raise. The first is that I think obviously there's a higher concern around boards remuneration, as said by Honourable Reddy. This has been highlighted with a number of our water boards, but no one in the public eye at least is going to make a differentiation between these different types of boards. And I do think we need a presentation on the way that boards are remunerated so we can bring it all to light, just so that we have all the information, so there can't be allegations or whatever. And then the second thing, Chair, is just whether I'd like an answer from the department. Obviously, we had some 3 disclaimed opinions from the AG, particularly VOCMA, LOCMA, and the MTCMA, and whether there is an expectation by the department that they are able to resource those departments to have a sufficient audit capacity internally to be able to do better in the current financial year, so that we will not see a continuation of this situation. Thank you, Chair.
Deputy Minister.
No, thanks, Chair. The DG can respond with the team on this one, but definitely we will have to come back to you. Firstly, at a departmental point of view, including these entities, to have the audit remedial action plan. But equally, Honourable Chair, you remember there was a time in the last administration where you assisted us to put a financial turnaround plan for the department that we continuously report on. But let's make that undertaking, that we don't have a choice. We will have to actually improve the audit outcome. It doesn't look good. And therefore, the audit remedial action plan, they are working on it, and then even the ministry will oversight. But including yourselves, you need to oversight us as part of the broader financial turnaround, because these entities cannot be established on the basis of adverse audit opinion. But the DG can make a point or two, then we conclude on what Honourable Moore says. Fully agree the matter around the boards, remuneration and other entities. We'll come back so that at least we're transparent. How does it look like, and how the number of meetings, and ordinarily the instances where they come to minister for requests for additional hours. How do we normally manage that? Thank you. DG.
Thank you, Deputy Minister and Chairperson. I'd like to just say a couple of things, and then with your permission, Chairperson, ask our CFO Frans to add. Honourable Moore, you would have heard during the presentation that we're now that we have the transfer agreement in place with the unions, we are now proceeding to transfer staff to the CMAs. Once that process is completed, and we are sure that we're not going to have a situation where we have staff both in the department and in the CMAs to do the same job, where we don't have any duplication, then the CMAs will then also be able to hire additional staff as their needs require. So there is a plan in place for the CMAs to get the capacity which they require in order to do their tasks. In the meantime, for now, we're still continuing with the agreement for us to provide the services on behalf of the CMAs. And as we indicated in our presentation, we had a particular problem with the SAP hardware, which was the major cause of us failing to meet the audit requirements. And as I've indicated, we accept responsibility for that as the department, and I accept accountability for that. But that problem has been addressed several months ago. We will be in a much better position to provide all the audit information required since that problem was addressed. but I'd like to ask Frans to also add as to what we're going to do to ensure that certainly from our side as the department and the role that we are playing in terms of providing these services for the CMAs in the interim, how we will improve for the next year's audit. Frans?
Thank you, Chairperson. DG, the first part relates to the systems and shared services that we have agreed that will continue to support the CMAs, and will also ensure that those business continuity plans are in place, which we have done with the SEP system. But it's also important to indicate that the CMAs now will be able to report separately as independent reporting entities. The challenge that we had, as indicated also this earlier today, for example, I did report in the meeting in the morning that we still had 2 billion resource management debt book that we were still reconciling during the year. And those are the challenges that prolonged the audit, and there were also expectation gaps with the Auditor General. So one, Mr. Moore, we have engaged the Office of the Accountant General where we needed to clarify technical areas, and the support we will provide. The work that we have done now takes into consideration what DM was saying around the internal control systems. We do have our internal control unit as well as internal audit function, but those are looking more into the departmental transactions. So the CMAs have begun as well to procure internal audit functions, some of them, and the CFOs as well. I do have two of my colleagues in here, two CFOs, Ms. Fansalamola as well as Buthelezi. We are just finalizing the other two. So once we have those CFOs there, there's also a capacity. We'll then have dedicated resources, Chairperson, to be able to. But we will ensure that we implement that plan that DM Matrobo was referring to. So we are confident that even these issues of information that could not be submitted on time, we have addressed those, Chairperson. So we are confident, DG, that we will turn things around, as DM is saying, with the recovery plan. We'll report on that as well.
Maybe the last point, Chairperson, we'll discuss internally even a consideration of conducting an interim audit so that at least we can test these things, Chair, because we're excited when we got a clean audit on one side, very disappointed when we got a negative audit outcome on the other side. But as a ministry, as we say, we will come to you a part of that bigger program of the turnaround, because you do know that turnaround plan has been yielding results. But this matter is a matter that will take it to the highest level, like we've taken these other matters. But probably internally we'll have to confirm our views. But normally interim audits, they help so that at least we don't get to be shocked at the end of the financial year. Once again, thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Honourable Moore.
Very satisfied, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honourable Kobe.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening to everybody on the platform this evening. Chair, I think I've been largely covered by my colleagues, really. I've had big issues with the internal audit and the lack of sufficient controls within the CMAs. So I think the previous response just covered me. Chair, I know that with Pongola, there's an issue of lack of accommodation, office accommodation. There's challenges as it relates to that, which is affecting the performance of the CMA. For me, I'd just like to know, have they engaged, what's the issue there? How are they solving it? Have they engaged Public Works and Infrastructure, maybe with giving them or leasing accommodation out to them? And also, some of their work as it relates to monitoring of rivers and water resources, they said that they couldn't achieve some of their outcomes, because some of their targets, rather, because they are affected by lack of accommodation. Now, and also they mentioned the issue of distance and then accommodation. I'd just like to know, how does the issue of lacking office accommodation and them going to different rivers and water resources, how is that affected by lack of accommodation? The monitoring and evaluating of it. I don't see the correlation, and maybe if they can assist in that regard, that would be great. Chair, and also I think Pongola does not have a single quarterly report that it's produced, and also performance management. This is at executive level. I just want to know, what could the reason be? Yeah, thank you, Chair. And also, if the department can give us turnaround times. I understand they're speaking to the conversations are now at the level where they are engaging for capacitation. What's this? Unions? Yes, unions. But when can we start seeing advertisements coming out, actually? An expected end that would help the portfolio committee in terms of oversight and monitoring these outcomes. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
The issue around Pongola issues of office accommodation, I'm not sure whether Dr. Kelly, she wants to come through just briefly, but the DG and the team of CFO and Tavi Singh, they can also come on that particular matter, Chairperson, because we are still in a transitional period. But maybe let's allow the CMA to come through, including the issues of the performance management system, and then the turnaround times and the staff transfer program, as we've concluded the issues of the agreement with labor. The DG and the team will speak to that, Chairperson. But let's allow maybe first to the CMA Pongola, just quickly whether they are finding each other, but the department as a transferring authority, then they'll conclude the response. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. From the CMA perspective, as far as office accommodation is concerned, it's a matter that we've raised with DWS because they are assisting us in terms of the office accommodation. There is no finalization as far as the lease agreement is concerned, and it basically needs consensus from the Minister of Public Works, and that is where we are. We have actually engaged the DG as far as this matter is concerned, and we are looking at the option of possibly an alternative office accommodation. So because currently what we have is a situation where we have only one floor that is accessible to the staff, and we have 91 staff within that one floor. So I think that is posing as a challenge. Just to elaborate as far as the how does the lack of monitoring and how does it affect the accommodation, lack of accommodation, and how it affects the monitoring. Now, what you find is that staff are moving into areas that are about 300 kilometers from the initial point of location. They move into areas like Pongola and Jozini, and these areas, sometimes it's not feasible for them after they have finished their sampling points to return home. So they would obviously require accommodation, and there are some issues that we have escalated to the department as far as the travel contract is concerned. Travel contracts have basically expired, and so it has actually placed the agency in a very limited position as far as moving into these spaces, and that's the reason why. As far as quarterly reports, I should say that quarterly reports are actually provided. We meet on a quarterly basis, and all of these reports have been submitted to DWS. I don't know if DG wants to come in or if acting CE wants to add on to what I've said. I submit you.
To complete the chairperson, we will ask our Director General to come in. As we said, we are still in a transitional period. DG and the team.
Thank you very much, DM. I'm going to ask DDG Funda Gubi to also assist on the accommodation issue, and our Chief Director for HR to assist on the adverts issue. We are trying to be responsive to all these requirements from the CMAs. Our minister has even gone as far as to write to the Minister of Public Works about the accommodation issue. So we're hoping to get some movement in that regard, but we are also looking at other possible solutions together with the CMA currently. It's not correct that our travel contract has come to an end. It's in place. There was a bit of a glitch when the travel company stopped providing services for a few days because one of our construction units had not processed all of the invoices, but we resolved that fairly quickly, and the travel services are being provided as required currently. Intabi Singh, would you like to come in on the issue of the accommodations specifically for that CMA?
DG Fundagobi, please, time is running. Let's not keep the meeting. DG wants your response on accommodation. Or in the meantime, Conrad, come through around the staff transfer, turnaround time, and the advertisement of these positions.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Good evening, Chairperson, members, and other colleagues. Yes, we have, as we've established or finalized the appointments of the boards in respect of all the CMAs that were empty at that stage, basically, and as far as executive positions are concerned, we've advertised those positions. We've made a couple of appointments. Those are the CEs, the CFOs, and the board secretaries. We are still continuously supporting the boards in advertising and filling those positions, as the committee may be aware that the chief executives need or require approval from cabinet, but we are running with those processes. We've also advertised in most of the boards some of the support positions, and I heard the committee talking about audit and risk, and those are some of the positions that we've also advertised in most of the boards, and we are proceeding with that. As was reported, the transfer of staff is envisaged to be finalized by the 1st of December. Once we've matched and placed people against the structure, those that will be transferring, boards will then have an indication of the vacancies that exist, and we'll then also support the boards then in the prioritized positions of those where staff didn't transfer to the CMA, then to ensure that we fill that. So we are continuously supporting the boards in as far as creating capacity is concerned. Thanks, DM.
No, thanks, Chair. Let's just conclude to say the matching and placing and the transfer timelines of staff, including the roadmap of filling of a position for all the CMAs. The HR team under the DG, they will submit that plan to you. And then the other one will then have to follow through around the issues of the office accommodation. I know that Minister Majotina did write to Minister McPherson, this submission for the intervention, especially for these ones around the issue of the office chairperson.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Minister. I think it's also a grey area around the monitoring and the transport and the advertisements. But if you can enlighten us in writing concerning
this one of the monitoring chair, we'll have a discussion internally, because I know that there was a problem with the transport contract, but it was resolved long time ago.
Okay.
But I think internally we'll have a discussion with the CMA, because they don't have to be sending people all the time. Technology is there, Chairperson. You know, you have worked in water yourself. Yeah. We just have to put our monitoring points and gadgets all over. We can actually be able to draw the information without taking water samples now, very live. Yeah. But we'll look at their method on how are they performing the functions, because we can't perform the functions now, Chairperson, as if it's year 2000, when we're already in the year 2025. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. Honourable Kobe.
Chair, I just heard, a very innovative solution from a water expert, so that sounds good. Deputy Minister Mahlobo, please, can that be implemented ASAP? But I'm very satisfied with the answers, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Maslangu.
Thank you very much. Greetings to your good selves. Greetings to both DMs, the leadership of entities, fellow committee members. Chair, I had a number of questions, but because there's already an established protocol, I will stick on two of my questions that are directed to the department and Inkomati. Chair, the first question, I think on the 17th of June this year, we had a meeting these entities. I still remember I asked two questions, and these questions were the follow-up questions for the meeting that we had on August 2024. And these questions, they were in relation to the fraudulent appointment of service provider and the employment of the foreign executive without prerequisite qualification. I still remember very well the DM asked this question, the DM responded on this question by saying that let's not allow the entity to respond, but at least let the entity submit the report on these matters to the department. And within 14 days, we'll be able to receive this report. And I'm here again, it's almost months that they have passed without the report that we have received as members of this committee. I want to check whether the department has received this report, it was submitted to them or not. Or perhaps it was submitted to the portfolio committee but did not arrive to me. That is the first question, Chair. And Chair, the second question is in also on the same matter. I think I've noted the circulation. I'm not sure it was a statement or the letter written by Nehao, where Nehao in Mpumalanga, they alleged that there were two internal audits that they were conducted by the same entity. And indeed, these two internal audits, they find out that indeed they've transgressed in performing these duties. They've employed this person irregularly, and also the service provider was wrongly appointed. Now here is my matter where the statement further alleged that there was a consoling of information that it was not submitted to the Auditor General. These findings that this appointment were made irregularly, they were not submitted to the Auditor General. So I want to check whether these allegations are true or not in my second questions. And if they are true, I think these are serious allegations that we must not even leave them aside. And this matter is a threat for quite some time. it seems like there's no willingness to resolve this matter. You must just ask yourself, since I've asked this question last year, August, and now it's now almost a year, but there's nothing that is happening. I'm just worried on that matter. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister.
No, thanks, Chair. I will ask the DG chairperson to respond. I know that there have been some correspondences in between the ministry and the board where certain tasks were given. And if Honorable Mahlangu Mrunga, you have not got your report like it was promised, our apologies on that. But let me allow the DG and Sistogo to indicate, and then I'll deal with the last issue that Honorable Mahlangu raised, if there's further allegations by Nehau that he says yes in DG.
Thanks, DM. Toko will respond. Toko.
Thank you, DG Chairperson and DM. The first question around the issue of appointment of foreign executives, we did respond. Formally, we received a response from the entity, and then we have sent it formally to our parliamentary secretariat. The second issue around allegations of corruption, maladministration, and various issues in Ikomati, the minister has received a legal an independent investigation report. She is still applying herself on that report. With regard to the chairperson, the first one, the minister has also made recommendations that the issue be referred to our internal audit, and our own internal audit is also applying itself. But we did formally respond to Honorable Mahlangu's issues. Thank you.
Chairperson, the issues there, we just have to check where the disconnect was. If Honorable Mahlangu, it has taken more than a year in order to receive his response. If probably between the committee secretariat and our ministry, we can just double check. But Mahlangu, we apologize. We're one of those departments that responds timelessly on all questions, even how they might be complicated. Or on your last matter, that there's another matter that Nehau is raising, and the concealing of that information. What we'll do, we'll request that information to be submitted so that this further investigation that is done by internal audit can look at that. And in the very same way, Chairperson, we dealt with the issues of allegations of etumgen. Ordinarily, when the allegations they come, the first point of call, minister writes to the chair of the board. They need to do their own investigation. You give them that first chance. And similarly here, getting Omati also to CMA, we know that the acting chair and the team, they've done all these reports. They've came through. Even when some of us, we came back from Egypt, I saw the report that the minister is applying her mind on that one. But this additional information, let come through the proper channels, and then if it informs the new issues that will inform internal auditors, they conclude this work will do so. But the other one, if we have not got the report, there is a disconnect between the office of the DG and the secretariat of our portfolio committee. We can resubmit that. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. We will also look on our side if it was a slip up from our side, or maybe it was sent to you but you've slipped up. But we will look on our side. Otherwise, we will get it from the department again. Are you satisfied with the responses, Honourable Member?
Well, Chair, I'm not satisfied, but I'll wait. I'll wait for the, because for an example, if there were irregularities that indeed they were found on the report, I would have expected the entity to act on those issues. So now I can't further ask the questions if indeed I don't have reports, and if indeed there are two internal audit reports that were done by that entity, can we have them so that we can also see them? If there are reports that were conducted, can we also be sent them as early as tomorrow so that we can have them on our side? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we heard that the minister got a legal opinion and she's still looking at the legal opinion. And I think then they will supply us with a report if you are satisfied with that. Then we go to the last person, Honorable Kegakilwe.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good evening, DMs, DG, and the delegation from the CMAs, chairpersons of the CMAs, honorable members. Honor for one concern with regard to the policies and the risk audit management plan. Let me appreciate the presentations, Chairperson, and welcome the commitment by the DMs and the DG that they are going to provide support to the CMAs to ensure that their performance improves. Regarding the policies, Chairperson, in one of our meetings, we discussed the lack of policies and all the plans. And there was a proposal, not even a proposal, there was a resolution that the experienced CMAs, together with the department, should assist the CMAs with the development of policies and all outstanding plans. And I am still not sure if by the 1st of December, those policies will be available, because the presentation indicated that by the 1st of December, all the employees will be transferred and report at the new CMAs. So my question with regard to this, Chairperson, is what is the current situation regarding the development of the policies and the outstanding plans? And will they be available by the 1st of December 2025? Thank you, Chair.
That's a question, Minister.
No, Chairperson. What Honorable Kehoyle is saying, the CMAs, Chairperson, they are at different levels in terms of their maturity and the transition. One of the most important aspects that you could see, the department has what we call it, Chairperson, model policies. You know, it's like a pro forma of some sort. But we can't impose those particular pro forma policies, Chairperson, including a pro forma kind of a model structure, like DG said at the beginning. And you could see a number of these CMAs in as much, especially the 4, Chairperson. Some of them, they've started considering some of these policy issues. They are at different level, and the department is going to support them. But ultimately, the accounting authority, which is the board chairperson, will be the one that will need to do that. Will monitor that all the necessary policies are there. But secondly, there are issues around systems. Remember, the system in the main are mostly the system in the department, in the ITC system, the issues of the shared services and so forth, including issues of risk management, business continuity plans, disaster recovery plans, all these other matters that the DG has alluded to. But when it comes to issues of staffing, our intention is to say the matter around matching and placing on the basis of voluntary acceptance, whether you will go there or not go there. We have said that our deadline is December this year. And initially, we also promised that we should be in a position just to share with you that implementation plan, and including the risk associated with it, Chairperson. Remember, there are risks. What if a staff member doesn't want to go there? We know that in the department, there's a plan to absorb some of them, but managing those particular issues. DG, you can conclude my response, but we're very, very optimistic because next year, by the time we start the new financial year in April next year, we will want the CMAs to be fully functional. But it does not necessarily mean when they are fully functional, they will never get any support from us as a department because they remain state-owned entities. DG?
Thank you, DM. Chairperson, I know Conrad would like to say something in this regard. Conrad?
Thank you, DG. Yes, just on the question of policies, and especially in as far as HR policies are concerned, that this transfer is done in terms of Section 197 of the Labour Relations Act, which means that employees will retain all their service conditions and benefits. And we've agreed that as a result thereof, that the entities or the CMAs will adopt the policies of the department, and some of them have already done that in as far as some of our HR policies and practices are concerned. So, and that is until such a time then that the board will be then expected to develop their own policies, customize them according to their needs. But in the meantime, they will then adopt our policies, which DM has indicated that those are in place and they are up to date. Thanks, DG.
Thank you, DM. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, colleagues. That brings us to the end of a very long day and long session. Thank you to the two deputy ministers, the DG and the officials within the department, as well as all the CMA board members and officials, our colleagues in Parliament and our officials in Parliament. Thank you very much for arranging this meeting. Thank you for having a fruitful meeting today. We've did a lot of work today, and hopefully we can now continue with our BRRR. With that said, I now adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, DMs.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.